In light of the FNAF security breach, I have decided to review all the previous Five Nights at Freddy's games before it, starting with the first Five Nights at Freddy's 1. I've replayed them on consoles, the remasters. I've played them all mostly to completion, other than ridiculous challenges like custom nights and such. But without further ado, I'm gonna start with Five Nights at Freddy's 1. This video is mostly scripted, this part was not scripted at all, but most of it is scripted. So, without further ado, let's begin. The strengths of Five Nights at Freddy's 1. The premise. FNAF 1 has a very strong premise. Gameplay-wise, it's very simple and relatively intuitive. It can be figured out quite quickly, with some trial and error, and it's easy enough to beat the first 5 nights with your own experience of the game. But the gameplay of FNAF isn't really the main attraction for most. The game is a really interesting idea for a horror game. It's not only is the idea of having creepy animatronics attack you, a scary one, but the way they do it adds so much to the game. The characters slowly move towards you, through the cameras until they arrive at your door. It's unsettling to watch them slowly wander near, not necessarily knowing what will happen when they arrive. And when they do, you shine your light to see something at the door with a loud noise. You panic, but you realize thanks to the phone guy's advice, you should close the door, and you wait until they're gone. The atmosphere. FNAF's atmosphere is very interesting. The game is very grey in the cameras. It looks dead and abandoned by the way the characters act, and the environments sometimes change, make it look all too alive. When the posters change for a split second as you click through the cameras, only for you to look back and it's normal again, that's a very real and unsettling feeling. When the words "It's me" flash on your screen, it leaves you wondering what that could mean, and almost functions as a jump scare in itself. The characters. FNAF's characters, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, are very iconic. They have classic designs that are recognizable and unsettling. They look fairly pleasant in the right lighting, bar Foxy, of course, but in the darkness they look horribly unsettling. The sound design. FNAF 1's sound design is outstanding, being home to several of the most iconic sounds of the series. The door slamming sounds brings a sense of comfort. The jump scare sound is loud, abrupt, and can be interpreted as either a robotic screech or of a child screaming. The ambience sets the atmosphere perfectly. It ever sounds like the animatronics moving, Freddy's music box, and especially the moans that can be heard when Bonnie or Chica have entered the office are very creepy. Now, let's move on to the weaknesses of FNAF 1. Repeated playthroughs. While I was pre-playing FNAF 1 for review purposes, I actually had a good time. But playing the game previously, it had gotten very boring. The game sometimes feels very repetitive, and early nights somewhat slow. The simplicity of the gameplay can leave the player bored on occasion. However, this is only really a problem I had after I've beaten the game multiple times already. One or two playthroughs of the game are consistently enjoyable the whole way through. The graphics. FNAF 1's graphics are quite good from an artistic standpoint, but at a technical level, the game doesn't really impress. Models and textures are very basic, and there's some model clipping. The main office looks particularly rough. As you move around it slightly, the game's 2D engine becomes very obvious. Overall, FNAF 1 is a very good game. It has creative and innovative. It was creative and innovative at the time of its release. Excuse me. Many noted it played nothing like any other horror games at the time. And although it is flawed, many of these flaws were improved upon in future games, even if the next games didn't quite capture the same magic as the original.